15 seconds in, that means I start to talk. Welcome to the John Dulong Show, episode number 6. Your regular dose of Monday morning nonsense from me, John Dulong. And if you happen to notice a slight change in the audio quality, if things sound a little bit more regulated, a little bit normalized, well, you can thank the Everlast Corporation for that. That's right. I've stuck a gym sock on my microphone. And actually, I think it's working pretty well as a pop filter. So, really, really professional outfit I've got going on here. On today's show, I'm going to talk about the bullet that 17-year-old John continues to dodge by not going into for realsies journalism. Oh, this podcast is all I really need. Also, going to talk about the latest royal news. Prince Harry getting himself engaged. And I've got some medium hot takes on that I'm sure really, do you come to me for the hot takes on the royals? There are better places to go. Anyhow, I hope that you enjoy the show. I've gotten some good feedback on the most recent set of the rules. No bonus episode this week. They're bonus episodes that come up when I feel that there's something to say or there's a good reason. So we're just going with the regular output this week. One episode, followed by another episode on the Monday. Everything's going to be fine, guys. Everything's just normal, easy peasy. And just ignore the gym sock. It's a clean gym sock, okay? It doesn't even have a partner, so I haven't used it in a long time. It's fine. It doesn't even smell bad. This is already, we're not even 3 minutes in and it's already a train wreck, which is, I think, why you listen. So what I think we'll do is we'll play a little bit of music. We'll get into sort of the meat of the episode and maybe not have so many of sounds of me into the microphone just to show off that I'm not using a smelly sock. I'm using a real... my girlfriend, she did, confirm that it's a normal... She's seen the sock. It's a normal sock. So it's not, it's not a gross thing. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up. There's music playing right now. So, just wanted to take a second. I said that I wasn't going to make this podcast about these sorts of incidents, but I can't not bring up the latest member of, I think we're calling them the Creep Squad. I didn't make any mention of, obviously, of a couple that have come up since the last time that I covered this, which was with Louis C.K. Of course, in the meantime, Senator Al Franken had his allegations coming to light. And then, of course, there's the ongoing shitstorm with Roy Moore. But Matt Lauer, got to talk about this because it's not just this isn't just, a sexual impropriety scandal thing, because I think that there are places that you can go to get a better take on that than with me. I think, mostly I am just here for getting angry about, minutia, not about big things. I'm more here to rant about, hey, people suck in the line at the grocery store, not a sexual impropriety by gross old white men. Because I think, there's a lot of other places that do that a lot better than I ever could hope to. And, but there just are situations that call for me to, I gotta say something, because this one's ridiculous, guys. It's out of control. It's off the wall. It's other adjectives that mean the same thing. So here's the thing with Matt Lauer. It's I'm not going to talk about his apology or anything like that. And honestly, this isn't the same as an Al Franken or as even a Charlie Rose, or what's his name from Prairie Home Companion, or even Louis C.K. Because it's not like I like the guy's work. I've never really watched the Today Show. He's one of the guys on the Today Show. If you don't know, he's the one that isn't Al Roker or, whatever woman that they have on the show right now. Which, like, by the way, if there's like a roving cast of women on a show like that, that's maybe not the best. Like, even if it has nothing to do with the host and you suddenly see that there's, roving cast that's changing all the time, that's maybe not the best look. But anyhow, I want to talk about sort of the underlying shit that went on there, because I think NBC has a lot to answer for this. I think, first of all, I think that NBC is, generally speaking, their response to the allegations coming out has been pretty good. The way that I understand it is, somebody came forward with an accusation. They deemed it to be credible. They deemed it to be, there's a pretty good chance that there's more of them. I think as of the time that I'm recording this, there's as many as 8 potential accusers, potential survivors of this man. Just, here's the thing though, like they did do the right thing by, like, they let him go immediately without any sort of hesitation. They're not standing by him. It doesn't look like, I'm going to finish recording this and there's going to be this expose that they were trying to cover it up. But, it looks like, as the time that I'm recording this, it looks like they've done pretty much everything the way that it ought to be done in these sorts of situations. Here's the thing, though. If you actually look into the allegations, you look into sort of the shit that is supposed to have happened, and I'm getting this from the AV Club. I'll link it in the show notes. So, of course, the article details the fact that he's, just generally harasses women, particularly those under his stable, as the article puts it. People who are under his power. So he's abusing his power. But then, just to quote directly from the article, which they're getting this information from Variety, the harassment would reportedly escalate when Lauer went on business trips, particularly when he was covering the Olympics, where he would invite NBC colleagues to his hotel room late at night, Harvey Weinstein style. Shocker. Perhaps most disturbing of all, back in New York, his office at NBC was in a secluded space. Okay, there's a problem right there. He is obviously in like a windowless office where and this is gross, man, like he had a button under his desk that allowed him to lock his door from the inside without getting up. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck is that super villain shit doing in a modern office? So, like, here's the thing that I have to say. Like, NBC, you got some shit to answer for here, because you allowed this man who has power over people, who's going to have people into his office, to have this sort of office that's in a secluded space with this fucking, like, remote controlled door locker. Like, how did that not throw giant red flags on the fucking play? Like, it's one thing. It's one thing to have an office that locks, that is secluded away from, the rest of the office, okay? Like, that's one level of sketchy. But then to have a fucking button in a secluded secret spot underneath your desk that you could, like, it's straight up some James Bond villain shit. Like, what the actual fuck? Somebody knew about this, okay? Somebody knew that this was going on, and somebody should have to answer for it, beyond Matt Lauer, who is, of course, denying some of the accusations and saying, oh, they're not all true, and just, like, none of this shit shocks me anymore, and that's depressing. But, like, at the very least, like I said in the past, like, at the very least, like, this shit's coming to light, and hopefully this does mean a sea change. I'm going to leave it there, because, like I said, there are people who can cover this shit in much better detail, but, like, holy fuck, a button to lock the fucking door. Like, just, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. It's just like who do you hire? What fucking contractor puts that in without, like, taking some sort of kickback, because they know what that's for? Fuck me. Oh my god. Speaking of real life supervillains, if you're here in Canada, you pay attention to the sort of media landscape at all. You may have heard of the Post Media and Torstar deal, where they swapped a bunch of newspapers and then immediately started shuttering a bunch of newspapers in, I guess, primarily in Ontario, but it was Vancouver, Winnipeg as well. So basically, like, here's sort of the way that I understand it. They realize that in some of these markets, there's only really room for one game in town, one newspaper in town. So they decide to do this thing where they gave each other a bunch of these different properties, sort of each apparently wink, wink, nudge, nudge, not knowing what the other one was going to do with it. And then all of a sudden, 244 jobs are being cut, and 21 out of 22 community newspapers are going to get shuttered by Post Media. Paul Gottfried, what makes this particularly difficult is that this means we will have to say goodbye to many dedicated newspaper people. Here's the thing, guys. Like, I'm so glad I didn't go. There was a period of time I was going to go into journalism. I liked writing. I liked, I liked current events. I liked having an audience. I liked all those things. I'm so fucking glad that I decided not to, because my God, this is gross in so many ways. And just to know, like, I know a lot of journalists. I went to the University of King's College for a few years, so I know a lot of folks who did pursue that dream. I feel so bad for anybody who lost their job, particularly to this, like, oligarch of a media baron, of a douchebag, who is just, like, he's managing a debt load, and I don't understand how, like, it's just, I'm going to manage this dumpster fire for the next few years. It seems to be what Paul Gottfried's doing. And I don't see and like, I'm not a media critic here. Like, if you want to listen to a good media criticism show, you can listen to Canada Land, or you can listen to On the Media for the United States. But, like, I don't understand why his whole, he just seems to be like, oh, all of a sudden, like, Facebook and Google were there, and, like, we can't make money on these properties. Meanwhile, like, you see properties in the United States that are, like, bigger audiences are doing really, really well now because they're doing real journalism again, like things that people actually want to pay for. I don't know. Like, this is just one of those rambling rants where I don't really have a point. I'm not going to lie to you guys, other than to say, like, it really sucks for these journalists. It really sucks for these communities that they don't have their daily anymore, their weekly, their community newspaper, the newspaper that's going to cover those little bullshit corners that, like, I mean, like, let's be honest, you're probably not reading about what's going on in your individual city hall unless you're really into that stuff. But I know that I don't, but I like to know that there's somebody there doing it. You know what I mean? Like, somebody is holding that stuff to account. And if something really untoward happens, there's somebody there covering it and making sure that, that it can get out to the broader audience. Anyhow, like, it's just a shame. And I'm so glad that I'm not in journalism, because it just, like, seems to always be in this perpetual state of, like, what do we do, guys? Everything is awful. What do we do? And the people who are making decisions are not seeming to actually care. Maybe something to be said, something climate change at this point. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about this one. Speaking about Facebook, just throw in the little bit of a plug here today for the new Facebook page for the show. Facebook.com/